Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Dining In. What a very special lineup today. Something that we actually do on a weekly basis in the restaurant when we are open. Wanted to bring you our love for Burgundy to match with our French menu that was created by the chef and Marie, our restaurant manager. And beside the wines of 10 minutes by Tractor, which we offer every week, we are offering different tiers of wine pairing. So this time around, let's dive into the world of Chardonnay and Pinot Noir in Burgundy. What is your love of Burgundy? Why Burgundy is so special today?
Well, I think it's special to anyone that loves Chardonnay and Pinot and those cool climate varieties. I mean, it's the spiritual home. It's the home of wonderful wines, wonderful white Burgundy, wonderful Chardonnay and Pinot, and it's great to have a lineup here that we can offer as a match, and great fun looking at these wines. They all tell us something about the special nature of these varieties.
And not only Chardonnay and Pinot Noir. I mean,
yes.
You know, with the first wine.
Before we start,
yes.
How did you start your journey to love Burgundy yourself, Noah?
I had a glass of Pinot Noir from Burgundy, and that's all I remember. Since then, it's history. You know, it's just it's really unique area, and there is so much history and heritage goes into that place. It's almost like the holy grail of a lot of wine lovers, and it's one of those places that you never can have enough of. You know, you're always finding different vineyard, different vintage, different, you know, and really fantastic people and community there.
Yeah. So bottom line, you need to drink more. Okay, let's jump on the first question.
So Pinot Noir and Chardonnay definitely is the majority of wine being made in Burgundy, but in this case we are going actually to the Côte Chalonnaise. We're in the southern part of Burgundy. The variety here is an Aligote. So Aligote is you can say a far cousin of Chardonnay, and there is actually two varieties within Aligote, Aligote Vert and Aligote Doré, which this one is made from the Aligote Doré. It's actually a fantastic domain because it's coming from the appellation of Bouzeron, which with the help of Aubert de Volaine from Domaine de la Romney Conti, they really established that appellation for that specific variety, Aligote. You can expect it fantastic high acidity, a lot of floral quality, really fine, really elegant. And we have it with the asparagus and the eggs mimosa. And yeah, it's really fantastic. Have you had many chances to try Aligote?
I have, and I've been to the domain just actually not long ago, just a couple of years ago. And you mentioned Aubert de Volaine, who is the owner and part owner, and also runs Domaine Romney Conti. Wonderful guy, wonderful gentleman who has been out here to Mornington and been to our Pinot celebration. And this is actually his family's domain. And I think the wines reflect the man. You know, they're very sophisticated, very beautifully balanced, you know, a lot of detail. Really, it's a bit of an eye-opener in terms of what Aligote can be and how good it can be.
If you want to know more about Aligote, there is also a group of people trying to revive the grape variety in Burgundy. It's called Les Aligoteurs, Aligoteurs. It's very special. They do a lot of trials, they do a lot of studies around the grape variety, and you can have a look on the internet. You'll find all the information. For your second course, which will go with the vol au vent, classic sheets of sort of pastry. Inside we'll have some snails and mushroom. We decided to go in Côte de Beaune, in the epicenter of Chardonnay. We are in Meursault. Meursault is a beautiful little village which represents everything that we love in Chardonnay. And we are with the Ballot-Milo family, very well-known producers in the village. They are quite well spoken, and I've actually visited the domain about in 2016, I believe it was, and they've got fantastic vineyards in the village. One of my favorite top premier cru or otherwise single vineyard in Meursault, it's called Genevrière, which is written here on the label, Genevrière. It's known for producing wine with that beautiful floral character, that elegance, that wrapped up with beautiful texture. Slightly similar to Bouillabaisse Chardonnay in a way, the yellow flowers.
It's got those beautiful flowers,
Yeah.
and it's got this amazing fine, almost lacy detail, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, when you're thinking of Meursault, Perrier and
Charme.
and Charme,
Porizo.
and Geneviève, so right up there, aren't they?
Yeah, and I just wanted to make it a little bit of a point here, and that's why we choose that wine, is because Meursault had that reputation of being rich, oaky. That's what people thought Meursault was like. In fact, it's not the case. Meursault has actually a lot of limestone, similarly to Chassagne-Montrachet and Pouligny. It just probably has more of that richness on the phenolic as well as that nuttiness, like that husky character, which I'm really happy to see Meursault reviving in a way.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it doesn't have a Grand Cru vineyard as such, but there's a couple of vineyards there that are definitely worthy of a Grand Cru status, and this is certainly right up there with it. A classic Meursault wine to go with a classic dish from France.
So I can feel the thirst.
I love Meursault, and I love the. There's such beautiful wines. It's a shame now that they're so expensive.
Yeah.
But anyway, good choice.
Especially the 17. I mean, all through here and the Wallis, on the other pairing, like
17.
17. On the cooler side, and it's really brings that.
The 17 white Burgundies are just spectacular. I think it's a beautiful vintage, one of the best vintages in recent years. So great choice.
Nice.
And we're having the macaron, the Pinot Noir gel. We have the Dark Liver Parfait, and with that we're going to pair a fantastic Pinot Noir. Usually in Burgundy, the appellation takes the name from the village where it's at, and in this case the Côte de Nuits, the appellation took the name from the name of the village of which this wine, which is Nuits Saint-Georges. We're in the south of the Côte de Nuits. This is a little premier cru called Clos de Forêt. It's made by Domaine des Arlots. This is 2015, by many also really fantastic vintage. And the guys over there, they're organic and biodynamic, really fantastic vines, older vines, giving a lot of complexity, a lot of depth. Pinot Noir obviously is the variety here, and it's really, really, really elegant, fantastic. A lot of people like to, say that this actually Premier Cru should many times be deserved as a Grand Cru.
Definitely.
But it's definitely for your conclusion. What do you think? Do you like the Nuits Saint-Georges as a village?
Yeah, I do. I mean, they've got a very distinctive style. I mean, they tend to be, a little earthier, a little bit more. The tannins are a little bit more granular. You can almost feel that sort of almost a rocky, sort of earthy ironstone type character to the wines. I mean, they're very. There's an 26 Premier Crus, I think there is, and this is definitely would be considered the top vineyard in Nuits, and and this is and this great little clos that these guys have. I was there with Imogen just in 2018. We had a wonderful visit to the winery, another wonderful female winemaker who's doing amazing things there, and beautiful part of Nuits.
So we are in the southern part of Nuits. Nuits is divided in two parts. You've got the northern part and southern. Southern, generally, the wine tends to be a little bit more on that plushy fruit character rather than being on the north. And also what I wanted to touch base before we go, there's two things. 2015 was the first year Géraldine Godot took over the winemaking. And second, you'll find on the label, it's called Monopole. I know in Australia, it's pretty, it's pretty common sense that when you have a vineyard, you make the wine out of this vineyard and you're the only one to do it. In Burgundy, because of centuries of winemaking and dividing the land, a lot of the single vineyard are divided in different producers. So you can have 10 producers doing the same vineyard. Here, monopoly means that you got one proprietor, one winemaker for one vineyard, which is quite rare. So I think it was important to say that, which makes it even more special. To finish on the savory, we've got the last course, which is a Bouillabaisse, a classic sort of dish coming from Marseille. Here we've got a Grand Cru, so we are really right at the top of the classification of Pinot Noir. We are in the crème de la crème, as we say in French, and we are in Vougeot. Vougeot is a village that is located right on the heartland of the Côte de Nuit, where you'll find all the Pinot Noir growing. And Claude Vougeot is also one of the biggest Grand Cru. We've got about a lot of producers. I think 51 hectares for 80 proprietors.
About 90 producers.
90 producers, so for me, Udelo Noëlla is one of my favorite producers in the Côte de Nuit. The wines are made by Charles Van Canet, which likes purity and elegance and soft plush character. And Claude Vougeot, for me, it's one of the most underrated Grand Cru and certainly overlooked compared to its counterpart in Vosne Romanée, but it offers incredible experience Pinot Noir wise.
Well, it's certainly one of the most beautiful vineyards in all of Burgundy, with the chateau, of course, and the wonderful history there, with the monks obviously originally making wine there over many centuries. Amazing that it's still there today, even with those big old wine presses. You know, Vougeot is the biggest Grand Cru vineyard in Burgundy, and you know, with so many owners and so many plots and such a big area, it's very difficult sometimes to generalize, you know, between the plots down the bottom and up the top. And but these guys have a great holding there, and they've got a great reputation for their Vougeot, and when it's at its best, it's really good.
So we said basically, just to sorry to generalize that, but at the bottom of the slope you'll find vineyard that create wine with a bit more opulence, and as you go up the slope it's getting higher, cooler, therefore the wine is becoming more linear, more fresh.
Finer.
So when the winemaker has different plot from the parcels around the Grand Cru, allows it himself to do a blending and have that balance between fruit, freshness. You know what I mean? It's like,
well, if you stand on the wall, you know, where Musigny, you know, which is one of the great vineyards of all of Burgundy, in Chambord-Musigny, and you can literally just, you know, you can just see just across the road basically the Vougeot, at the top of the Vougeot vineyard. So you imagine with, you know, Musigny, it tends to be much more finer, more perfumed, that you get an element of that certainly in that style, sort of in that top part, whereas down the bottom, which is near the village, it's quite different.
And me, when I drink a Claude Vougeot from Udelo Noëlla, I've got the impression to be in my kitchen vineyard.
Yeah, it's a beautiful detail. It's nice of you to say so. Well, this is also interesting. I mean, for people who don't know, this is where James Busby went to actually collect the vines, famously to bring back to Australia in 1831, and of course the MV6, which is one of our main clones that we use in Victoria and our vineyards here in Mornington, is linked back to those cuttings.
And it's really much like you said, right? Claude Vougeot is a good interpretation of the idea. Like you're always telling us, like it's important to start with good ingredient and good vineyard, but it's then all these producers, like what do you do with that good fruit and good terroir, right?
Well, I think there's something like 120 or so owners, thanks to the Napoleonic inheritance laws, but there's about 90 producers, so it's quite a lot of it, and of course. The best producers, you know, great producers like this, and in the course of 2015 vintage, one of the great vintages for red Burgundy.
Imagine here you got on the lineup so far you got 217 and 215, so you got the chance to drink a more cooler climate or cooler region, cooler temperature for the white. And the 15 tend to be a little bit more broad-shouldered, with a bit more fruit, so a bit more opulence, which will be quite good for those people who drink a lot of Australian Pinot Noir, which tend to carry a bit more fruit.
Two wonderful vintages for the whites and the
reds.
Okay. What have we got to finish off with?
So with the beautiful dessert, we've got the Paris-Brest. We're going to have a beautiful fortified. It's actually made after they're making the wine all over the world, technically, like when they're making the wine, then there is the leftover, let's call it, and then they taking that and they distill it. So, for example, in Italy, they use it for making grappa, but you know, in Burgundy, after they're making the wine, there's a lot of good bits left, you know, and they don't want to throw it away.
So you basically got, you know, you got the skins and the pips and the stalks, and of course you also have the leaves. And so you might be interested to just tell a bit.
So the appellation, it's called Fin de Bourgogne, which is actually legally a classification. You have Fin, but you also have another name called Mar, and Mar, M-A-R-C. Two similar products, but two different way of doing it. With the Fin de Bourgogne, you legally have to use lees of the wines, or the wine itself, you distill it, and then you have to age it for a certain period of time. This type of sort of spirits were being made since the 13th century in Burgundy. So it's quite, it's I would say it's the cousin of cognac. You know, where cognac you will take some white grape variety, you will distill the juice, and then you age it for years in barrels. But imagine it's the same we do in Burgundy in their own cellar. So I guess I love this product because it shows also the diversity of Burgundy as a region, and it's not only about wine, it's also about cheese, it's also about snails, it's also about you know, there's so many, and that's the beauty of Europe. There's the beauty of those regions is that it's to showcase the diversity anyway. And looking at this lineup, I'm thinking, it is multidimensional, but you have to look for it. And so for your last course, we decided to use this to make a sort of an old-fashioned, like a little twist, like a French twist.
Great. Domaine Rouleau as well. I mean, it's a fantastic producer as well.
It is. And Domaine Rouleau is one of my favorite producers in the whole world of Chardonnay. Love his style. And there's actually a movie that you'll find in Netflix or others where he is actually part of the movie. It's called Return to Burgundy, and he plays one of the winemakers. So I invite you to have a look at this movie. It's pretty cool, isn't it?
I do. Well, I won't be doing it this Saturday because I'll be watching the grand final.
That's it.
Anyway, but it's nice to do this tour of France, and well done on putting together some great wines.
Well, we're going to have a glass of Burgundy, shall we?
Yeah.
It's about time, no?
Well, thank you very much for joining us again. Thank you for your support, and we hopefully will see you another time, another week. And please don't hesitate to give us some feedback on your experience with those wines. We'll be happy to have a look at it, and excited.
Okay. Well
Thank
done.
you guys. Thank you very much. Bye.
Cheers.
And go Melbourne.